everyone. Welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the evening or the journey. Help me welcome my co-host David from Tarot by the Bay. Hello, David.
Hello, hello.
As you
We
can
uh,
see,
we tied up Gary and threw him on a plane to London with his wife and forced him to spend time with his family. So he will not be joining us tonight,
no,
but he will be closer to Alf. So there's that.
there you go. Yes, and while he's away, feel free to tell stories. I mean,
All the stories.
strictly entre nous, Yeah, we won't tell anyone.
No.
So, how are things in your world?
Well, we just had a 4-day work week, a weekend, a 4-day break because of Thanksgiving,
Yes.
and then Black Friday off, which that was amazing. Starting to see some of the stories coming out that a lot of the big box stores, Best Buy apparently was really naughty about this. They had their doorbuster sales with their everyday prices. I guess maybe their idea of a doorbuster is not to add the 10 or 25% tariff up front.
Yes.
And so, in an amazing shock, they're not selling anything. So this might be a not so jolly Christmas for Wall Street.
Uh-huh. Well, apparently what I heard was that Black Friday sales were through the roof. It was phenomenal sales.
Mm.
And I thought, really? I don't think so, but okay. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are really they're holding back. They're not going to go in and do what they've done in the past because they're a
And
little
there's
concerned.
yeah, and there's a couple of things going on with it. For some folks, it's going to be like, wow, these tariffs are coming in. I better save up a little bit because things are getting expensive, or focus more on the things that you need
Yes.
rather than the things that you want.
Yes.
And then the other is like, I don't know, some of these guys that work at auto parts stores that are saying, nope, no Christmas bonuses for you. We're using that Christmas bonus money to stock up on product before the tariffs kick in. Because that's the find out portion of F around and find out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, people are making some of those purchases that they thought that they would be making next year. They are making them this year. I think one of my subscribers said that, yeah, she was going to purchase her washer and dryer next year, but decided no to do it this year before the tariffs kicked in, which makes total sense.
The only thing Michelle and I talked about, and this would be purely, first world problems, is do we buy our iPhones are fine, but do we buy a replacement iPhone now? Because, it's not just going to be that they're assembled in China, but there's going to be parts from all over the world in there. iPhone prices could go up by 50%.
Yes.
But that's a possibility. It might be 25%, but it might be 50% too.
Yes.
And even though our phones are perfectly fine, do you jump in now to save yourself some pain later?
Yeah. I know. But those are
Thank you, Leanna.
decisions that we all have to make.
Decisions we all have to make.
There you go. So thank you to each and every one of you that has joined us in the room. Just very quickly, hello, Norm, AZ. We've got Sherry, Voices from the Swamp. Hi, artist Liz, Leanna, Miss DJ, Maureen D'Amico, Innocent Potato, Catherine Rodier. Hello, Catherine. AZ is happy, Anita King, Dora Smith, Rose Blue, Light Seeker, Psychic Dummy, Alf Carlson, Mary Epperson, Laura Siazik, I think, Maureen D'Amico, Becky Stone, Mimi Nee, Angel Rivera, Jamie Sheridan, Amber, Rhapsody and Rainbow under her new name. Hello. So, and if I have missed you, believe me, it is nothing personal. It's just that as I'm scrolling, trying to read the names really fast, my eyesight isn't as good as it used to be when I was, well, when I was a little younger than I am now. Just put it that way.
My eyesight got really, really good in my God, it was early 40s. That's when I had the eye surgery done. Then my eyesight was amazing. It's fallen
Yes.
off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, there was a lot of things that were amazing a good number of years ago that all of a sudden now it's like, that doesn't work the way it used to. You know? How come I'm winded going up that second flight of stairs? Like, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes conscious choices are, it's not just age, sometimes it's conscious choices.
Yes, absolutely.
I went to the doctor and my doctor just like, let's try and get some weight off of you. It's about time. That's a constant conversation that I have with my doctor.
And you said, okay. You did.
Yeah. I said, okay. I have to do some blood work and stuff like that. She's recommending I go on Ozempic, I think is how you pronounce it. Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm always a little leery on the weight loss drugs because it seems like whenever they come up with a weight loss drug, about 2 years after it comes out, you start hearing about these awful side effects that nobody ever saw in the clinical trials that ruins people's quality of lives or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I know. It's a little scary. I can tell you that I'm on Ozempic. I'm also diabetic, and so it's to help with the diabetes and whatnot as well. So, but the first 2 weeks were a little rough in terms of just feeling queasy, tired, not myself, and whatnot. And it took me a while to realize, oh, that's what's different. So, but otherwise, it's just it's once a week injection. You do it yourself. It's a teeny tiny needle. You don't even feel it.
Do they have it like in one of those Novo Nordisk injectable pens or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I use that once a week, and then the other days in the week I'm on insulin that I take on a daily basis. So
Okay.
yeah, that helps. I did notice Ginny Wells said hello, watch us both for the first time.
Oh, no kidding.
Welcome. I hope
Hello.
that you will enjoy being here. I hope that you will find our little chat and conversation amusing and informative and all that kind of good stuff. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you go over to David's channel, Terror by the Bay. Give him a like and share. The man is only 27,000. For the love of God.
I know, right? It's barely growing.
Get him out of the hole,
I did look it up. I was about, I think I was January 2nd or January 3rd is when I hit 5,000 subscribers this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thought it would be amazing if I hit 10. It would be super amazing if I got as much as 20. Now, dare I dream for 20? And ever since basically Trump won the election, subscribers have, after the initial drop that we all had, they've been exploding. People are just stressed the hell out. Oh my God. And I understand because I am too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I'm 100 and some away from 4,500. So I am hopeful that I'll be able to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. That's the goal. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, well, there's always January. So, there it is, right?
And for Gray Raven, I think I actually was carded up until about age 29 or 30. That was when they finally stopped carding me.
Wow.
It was so depressing. It was always funny because I'm 27, 28 years old. Can I see your shirt ID? Sure. Show it to them. Oh, geez. They'd be like, oh, geez, I'm sorry. It's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's particularly lovely when it happens to a woman, because it's like, really? My sister, my youngest sister, we're lucky enough that we inherited the youthful gene. We really did. We do
Mm,
not appear our physical age.
yeah.
She will go to the bar with her two daughters. They will get right in. She'll get carded. She goes, "Oh, my ID? Why, here it is."
That's right. There's a five. There's a one of those plastic 5 pound notes underneath it.
Yes.
Canadian dollars. There you go. That's for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You did it just the way we rehearsed.
Exactly.
Uh, So, thank you, like I said earlier, to each and every one of you that has joined us. Really, really appreciate you being here and spending part of your evening with us. And we will get into some of the things that I kind of took out of the headlines, and I thought that we could throw some cards on and just see what the cards have to say about things. And one of those, of course, the big news is that Biden pardoned his son, and Mega is they are ready for the fainting couch, the smelling salts, while clutching their pearls. Elizabeth, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, it's the big one. I'm coming.
Yeah,
Yeah. I did a reading on that one just the other day, and the thing that I kind of sort of started focusing on is you finally broke Joe Biden. Congratulations, you finally broke
yeah,
him. This is the guy that's been in politics for 30 to 40 years. It's all about collaboration. There's nothing that he couldn't talk and come to a consensus and agree with. And
yeah,
he finally reached the point where he realized that this crop of Republicans is fanatical, unreasonable, and you can't negotiate with them.
yes,
So why bother playing the game? Because the rules have changed. They don't follow the rules that were there. They've made up their own rules. And
yes.
finally, it's just like, you know what? You'll never stop. So I'm gonna do something I wouldn't normally do,
Yep.
which to me it puts them right on the precipice of taking that next step of challenging the election. Now, we have no evidence whatsoever that Biden, Harris, or anybody is looking at these election results.
Yep.
As much as I hate saying it, don't get your hopes up that they are.
Mhm.
Simply because maybe, and this is just David here, I'm a hopeless optimist. And the
Yes.
problem with hope is that you can be disappointed a lot more often because you think things are going to work out and they don't. And it's a hard thing to deal with. And I don't want to give folks false hope saying, yeah, they're going to do this. Yeah, they're going to do this. And then they free will themselves into a no, we're not going to do this. And then your hopes are dashed and it can sink you down into a mire of depression. And how many
Absolutely.
times can you go to the hope bucket and have optimism?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
No, I get it. I absolutely totally get it. I think, yeah. Um, it's, I thought that, yeah, I thought that there was a lot of people in the past that I put kind of faith and hope in, and oh yeah, they're the ones that are going to do this and do that, and they didn't. So I totally get that mindset. That
Yeah.
yeah, okay, but like you, yes, I am the eternal optimist. I will always try to find the good, the positive, the whatever behind anything. Whatever happens, well, when you look on the good side, and that's kind of my default setting is right to look for that good side. But I am I am very glad that he did um, pardon Hunter.
Yeah.
I think, and yeah, if you didn't clutch your pearls and go to the fainting couch when Trump pardoned Steve Bannon and General Flynn and I don't know who
Roger Stone,
Roger Stone and all those.
Charles Kushner.
Yes, yeah. If you didn't clutch your pearls then sit down,
Yeah.
fermez la bouche, and say nothing. say nothing. I'm not interested. So, I there's a part of me that would love, love, love to see Biden say, okay, anyone that was in my administration, blanket pardon. You get a pardon. You get a pardon. You get a pardon. Just pardon everybody. Everybody
Well,
gets a pardon.
the Republicans would never understand that because, I mean, you can sell those for $2 million a pop. Why would you give them away for free?
Yes,
Duh.
I know. I know. So, and the reason that I started off with, Biden pardoning Hunter was because Trump's lawyers want the hush money case to be dismissed. And part of their argument was the fact that Biden pardoned Hunter.
I missed that. Had to have come out today because
Yes, it did. It came out today that was part of their argument was, it had to do with presidential immunity and Biden pardoning Hunter, and that's why the hush money needs to be totally dismissed, and it's unfair to have Trump be waiting for sentencing for possibly the time that he's president, because he's not yet a convicted felon. He's a felon. We all know he's a felon, but he hasn't been convicted. And that was kind of my stance, was what does Biden pardoning Hunter have to do with that? Nothing. But you throw it in there. So
right.
So my question was, will Judge Marchand decide to dismiss the case, or is he going to just put it off?
Well, with this latest appeal, because he's already planning, he's just putting it off now. Will this latest appeal cause him to dismiss it? I guess is the way you want to look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get ready. One question for Laura Hammond Davis in the comments. I'm curious, do you buy crystals from Steve Brown on Facebook? Because I could have swore there was like a Laura Hammond that's been bidding on crystals and winning auctions on there, and it could just be somebody with the same name as you. But if it happens to be you, good job. You got some great stuff today. Okay, let's look at and I'll look for the comments, see if she posts up there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm expecting the answer no, but hoping for the answer yes.
Yes.
Judge Marchand, is he going to dismiss the case now that President Biden has pardoned Hunter and there's this incredible legal argument produced by Trump and company? All right, entertainment purposes only. What's Judge Marchand going to do with this case? Hangman, he's going to be looking at it. Interesting proposal. I guess he's not going to dismiss it out of hand. Now, the question is he going to dismiss it or just let it hang? I think he's just going to let it hang. Crossed by somebody wanting this case over with. And then underneath it, you're looking, is justice served? Is there anything you're going to give on this? You got the scales of justice, a big request, and what's going to be the payout? No, have mercy on me. They have mercy on Hunter. You should have mercy on me. In the past, you got the Hierophant. This is going to be the court case, the 34 felony convictions from a jury trial. Current situation, probably some novel legal theory of, hey, so far I don't want to dismiss this case. It's still too valuable.
Yeah.
Overarching energy is the Empress, taking care of everything. He'll probably look at it. He has to make sure that everything lines up with the law. Then he's going to make his judgment. It's undecided at this point. To me, I would say he's not going anywhere with it, or he's going to decide it later. There's not going to be anything that comes racing out of it. He could have them come back to court and argue in front of him why this needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not, let's see. there is some messaging that comes forward. Truth is revealed. Well, I guess maybe he's going to make some decisions quickly here and bring things to an end. What's bringing to an end? I don't know if that's killing the case or not. He could kill it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like hope. The reason why you keep it around is you're hoping he lives for 4 years. You
Yes.
know, something could happen to Trump that makes him unable to serve a sentence, even if convicted on it. Let's say Trump strokes out and he's just basically a drooling, brainless, mindless corpse. There's no reason to keep this case going at that point. You can dismiss it because he's not fit to stand trial. That could be what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Be
Exactly.
careful what you wish
Punishing
for.
him at that point, yeah, the brain cells aren't there to recognize
Yeah.
why you're being punished. So, yeah, I start off with the Ace of Swords. They're looking at, they presented some novel ideas with this Biden pardoned Hunter,
Mhm.
but this is also maybe Marshawn looking at things with maybe different guidelines, different rules, something new that perhaps he hadn't thought of before. It is Nine of Swords. Yeah, it is a matter of concern, and I think part of it is concern for him, but there's also part of it is concern on the Trump team that what if he is sentenced before he's inaugurated? It could happen. That's kind of the next thing that they were going for was the sentencing. Here in the middle, I've got the King of Swords. That's my Joe Biden. That's him saying, "Hey, listen, I'm still here. Don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. I'm here." It's the truth coming out, and I think that this is what's coming to the forefront is not only the lies and things that the devil has come out um, and and displayed, but also the things that he has hidden as well. Right, things that have been kind of silenced and don't say anything, don't do anything. Um, Yeah, I think I have to agree with you in that I don't see anything in these cards that would tell me that, oh yeah, he's going to dismiss it, but I don't see anything that here that says that no, he's definitely going to sentence him as well either.
Yeah, I'm being dragged back to that 6 of coins that I had on mine.
Mhm.
Literally, if Trump has a health event that prevents him from standing trial, that's the charity.
Yeah, yeah,
Congratulations, you dodged it. By
yes. Yeah,
here's a cup for you to drool in. Maybe Melania will sop it up for you.
there you go. There you go. I I wonder if she enjoyed dinner with Justin. Do we know did she join Trump and Justin when they had dinner?
Uh, those are some fun reads.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall, right? Oh,
Yeah,
to be a fly
exactly.
on the wall. Um, okay, so with um, with Marchand looking at dismissing the case or whatnot, I can't remember if we looked at this last time or if we read on this last time. With Jack Smith kind of taking a step back. Um, is it possible that Jack Smith is holding his information to be able to take it to The Hague?
Is there a way? Let's see.
Because this would, crimes against humanity,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Ripping babies out of the arms of their mothers, not nice. Um, there was a lot of people that died during that sea event. When you told people that maybe they should inject bleach. Um, operating with other countries that are not nice to their citizens and so on? Is it possible? It's a dive down a rabbit hole, but
Yeah. Foundation of the reading is the truth, the sun card, the truth being exposed. Will it take it to the Hague? It's possible. I think it's more that it gets, it's revealed. It's there for folks to see. The central disappointment card is probably the U.S. The U.S. judicial system, that you couldn't get him on the cases that he is liable for in the U.S. But that doesn't mean that you've run out of options. You've just run out of options in the U.S. for now. This is a card about being realistic. Another card about keeping your emotions in check. And then underneath is the Page of Pentacles. I don't know if it'll go to the Hague. And again, this could be about the health of young people. Underneath there, the truth is out there about that. And being realistic, what can the Hague do, or what jurisdiction they have in the United States? It may not go anywhere. To me, it's just more that getting the story out about what happened is kind of what you can do. And to me, the thing I get from these two cards is Jack Smith is realistic about what he can get done, and he knows this election is shut down for now, but that lid can come off the cup at any point. All it takes is Democrats in Congress and Trump no longer protected by the presidency. Now, that being said, there's nothing, because of this, not that disappointment card, because of the Supreme Court ruling, Trump can argue that what he did was a presidential action. Therefore, he would have immunity for, violating people's rights. But that doesn't mean they can't sue the United States. It's just that Trump will not be criminally or civilly liable for what he did. He'll have those protections. Certainly criminal protections, likely civil protections as well. Does that mean that the Hague could do stuff? The Hague could do stuff because it's not the U.S. laws, it's international laws that would be getting it. But, kind of good luck getting, it's like getting Putin in front of there. Good luck getting the U.S. president turned over to the Hague, Interpol coming and arresting him and putting him on trial. That's just not the realistic society we're living in, which is why I think that Seven of Cups came up.
That could be. But you know what? Hope springs eternal. If I'm going to dream, I'm going to dream big. I start off with the world, something coming to an end, something having gone through its cycle and ending. And the Knight of Cups, the kind of lounge lizard that promises you everything, and at the end of the day doesn't have anything. So with that might, maybe it is something that Jack Smith might be holding in his back pocket just in case. It would certainly worry Trump. It would certainly tie him up. I also get the Six of Pentacles. The receiving, giving aid, each according to their need, and so on. Looking at what, if I do this, what's the gain? What are the losses, and so on. He might very well be thinking about it with the Two of Pentacles. It could be, juggling what he's going to do, or looking at it in terms of there's another way to skin the rabbit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another way to approach something, because let's face it, he has broken the law in the past. If he is inaugurated, damn well that he's going to break the law again. There's, that's a solid bet. That is. So I think that the different agencies are certainly going to be watching him very, very carefully, right? So, yeah, it was an interesting question that I thought, oh, I just wonder. So, okay, I listened to a little speech that Putin gave, and he talked about how it was absolutely awful, the treatment that Trump received. He was maligned in the press. They attacked him mercilessly, and ultimately he prevailed. And I mean, they went after his children. Okay, that's how far American justice has fallen. They went after his children. And he said, quote, even Russian gangsters don't go after children and women. And I thought, I don't know. I saw some nude pics on Russian TV of Melania. Was that person fired? What happened there? So it felt to me like Putin is playing with Trump like a cat plays with a mouse.
Yep.
Yeah. On the one hand, he's saying, oh, yeah, listen, poor guy, look what they did to him. And then on the other hand, he's saying, yeah, well, when he sends his ambassador here and tells me he wants this, that, or the other, I'm just going to tell him to take a hike. We're not even going to discuss it. So kind of a case of, gaslighting him and doing all kinds of nasty things. So when Putin said that he would send Trump's ambassador packing, what was the kind of messaging that he was sending out? I support you, but don't come to me with any deals.
One question for clarification: was he talking about the current ambassador, who's a Biden, like maybe a Biden appointee to Russia, or is he talking about if Trump appoints an ambassador to Russia, he's going to boot that person out?
Trump's appointment of ambassador.
Got it. Okay.
It was very clear it would be Trump's.
I would say good cop, bad cop, but with Putin, it's kind of like bad cop, worse cop. The things to humiliate him and belittle him were the rattlesnake rattling its rattle, and then throw out some complimentary stuff to play on his ego, but then you lace it with warnings again.
Yes.
So yeah, I think a cat playing with a mouse or its prey is an apt description.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's Putin trying to communicate with Trump here? Who's in charge? Who's your daddy? I'm your daddy. Remember that. I hold information of value against you. You don't want that information out, do you? Hey, look, we worked together before. I gave you things. You gave me things back. But recently, I gave you stuff, and you're acting like you don't know. You don't take my phone calls anymore. Current situation. There can only be one for all you Highlander fans out there. There's only going to be one king. It's me, not you. I'll tell everybody everything that you've done. I will throw your ass under the bus, and step by step is how I'm going to do it. That was about the simplest reading I've had in a long ass time.
Perfect. There you go.
And with royalty cards, no less, which are historically difficult. 2 queens and 2 kniggets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all right. It's funny because I start off with the devil. Okay. So okay. There's and I kind of found this, oddly enough, fairly easy myself. So we've got Putin is the devil. I'm the one in charge. I'm going to yank your chain anytime that I feel like it. And there's not a whole lot that you can do. You can decide that, yeah, you're going to walk away. You go ahead. You go ahead. You tell me to go hit the road, that you're not going to play, and you're the big man in charge. And remember all those things that I helped you with, that we put together? Well, guess what? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share that. My Queen of Wands is going to be coming over to have a meeting with you, and she's going to let you know, and you can let her know what it is that you want to hang on to and what it is that you want to let go of. So yeah, it's and bottom of the deck, I've got the King of Swords, and I've got the Three of Swords. So yeah, go ahead, call my bluff.
Yeah,
call my bluff. Wow.
Michelle has a magnet on the refrigerator downstairs. Says, "Go ahead." It's like, "Go ahead, underestimate me. That'll be fun."
Yes. Yes. And you know what? I have a T-shirt that says that.
Yep.
Because yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And with my wife, oh God, it's true. Yeah, that's not the person you want to be on the wrong side.
No, I actually saw something the other day, and when I saw it, I burst out laughing because for some reason I thought of you and Michelle. Now, I don't know Michelle, but just from you talking about it was a T-shirt, and it said, "Oh look, my wife's last nerve. I want to touch it."
Oh, jeez. She's a bit cruder than that. Especially with her girlfriends. Oh my God. It would be, all out of F's to give is more kind of her. Remember, we have a jar with the word F on it so that all of her F's are in a jar.
Perfect. I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like her a lot. We would get along very well. Okay. So, yeah, Norm wanted to know, can Biden release the Epstein files?
Yeah, absolutely he can.
Yeah, why not?
There's 4 cards on it. The question is, will he? Yes, Biden absolutely could. He could declassify them and go ahead and release those files if he wanted to, at least the stuff that the FBI has. Now, if there's an ongoing criminal investigation, the DOJ may prevent him from sending stuff out, or they would be redacted. But yeah, stuff that's not part of a court case, he absolutely could.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's see, will he do it? And he might. Here's why. The people who are going to be most impacted by this are wealthy, powerful Americans, at least the ones that we care about. And it was wealthy, powerful Americans, oligarchy, that were conspiring against him to bring him down in this election. So he'd probably be pissing off more enemies than pissing off his friends, because you've got to imagine that there's probably more Donald Trump-like people in Epstein's book than there are Warren Buffett or somebody who's a bit more left-leaning, George Soros, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just because of the way that they view women and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're powerful men who can have anything they want. And that's going to be the thing that unites them.
Yeah.
So let's see. What's Joe Biden going to do with the Epstein thing? The Hermit card. It could be exposed. You could retreat with it, but it could be exposed. It'll be a slow going though. It's something that's going to happen eventually here. There might even be a big push behind it. This could be a Freedom of Information Act request that's made with that, but 2 major arcana. So somebody's either going to make a decision to hide this or expose it. But that decision's coming. In the past, you got the Page of Wands messaging about the actions that were done with young people. Right now, it's under wraps.
Yeah.
Overarching energy is the Star card, though. Kind of, what the vibe I'm getting on this is Can you imagine if hackers got in there and exposed it? They would be the
Yeah.
stars of it, you know,
Yes.
and kind of getting it out that way. Evaluating it. The star card probably is these are the elites in the United States, the oligarchs. And what are the pros and cons of releasing this? The outcome is the double card. Now they'll probably protect them. I mean, they could release it and show all the horrible things people are doing, but I think for right now they'll be protected. I would expect it's more likely that it will get released um, by hackers than by Biden. But you know what? They broke Biden.
Yes.
So this could be a giant fu to people too. You wanted this? I'll give it to you, and
Exactly.
we'll let the pieces fall where they may. And that would be a lot of people screwed over Biden over the last 6 months, over the last several years, but especially in the last 6 months.
Yes.
And if he's a vengeful, if he's got no F's to give,
No, he's got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
they've
He's
dragged they've dragged his son through
yep,
all this, and exposed him literally in
literally.
pictures, and they've used him as a cudgel against him. And literally, you could just picture Joe Biden saying, "That's how you want to play?
Exactly.
Fine. You want to
Fine.
around? Now we're going to find out." That would be an incredible part of the meme. F around and find out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. It just really is. How are the aviator shades going to come out, and are the red laser beams for eyes going to be piercing through there?
Yes. I think, yeah, okay. Again, I have start with the ace.
Oh, you got the Ace of Wands too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that he is not saying no to the idea. He's not.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it. He realizes that this is going to bring an end to a lot of people. And at this point, honestly, I don't care if the Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whatever they are. It's like enough. We kind of do need to see where the bodies are hidden. But it's like, yeah, he's contemplating, what that would do. He's still being a little measured with temperance. He's still, I think that he's worried about the effect that it would have on the US. He's being too moral. He's being too moral.
Right.
He almost needs to take a page out of their handbook and whatnot. This is a battle for him. The Nine of Wands. This is a moral battle between putting the information out there and having it appear that he's doing it as kind of a last fu to everyone. But he is thinking about it. He's definitely the Two of Wands. He's definitely thinking about it. And at the bottom of the deck, I got the Hermit followed by the Death card.
Wow.
Yeah,
and as you were going through it, I hit that same thing too. The one concern he might have is, how you throw the match on that dumpster fire. How big is it going to burn?
Yes.
But at the same time, all the people who've been attacking him and his son and his family, I can assure you, they are all going to be impacted by this.
Yes.
Some way, shape, or form. And for many of them, it's going to be first-person culpability.
Yeah. I think so. And you know what? We can't fix what we don't know is broken. So, I know that as a moral human being, his default would be to, don't get nasty, don't get in the muck with the pigs, because that just makes you a mucky pig. But I think that I would like to see him just get a little Brando. Yeah, like someone says, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'd love it if I actually would
Oh,
love it if he did it, because the Republicans want to tear down this society anyways. Help them. Oh,
yes.
show them that the sword is double edged. It's not a single edged sword. It's a double edged sword.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because in
Absolutely.
the end of the day, for the Trumpers out there, do they care if Rupert Murdoch has been raping little girls? I mean, they should. It doesn't mean Fox News is going to go away. It just
Yeah.
means Rupert Murdoch is a child rapist and should
Yes.
face criminal charges for that. Again, entertainment purpose only. I have no idea if Rupert Murdoch
Yes.
is on that list, but if he was, screw him.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's one of
Yeah.
the most frustrating things with MAGA, especially with Trump because they live in a cult, is they will not draw a line in the sand.
Yes.
And getting them to say, should you prosecute people who rape children? They get cautious, like, well, wait a minute, who are we talking about here?
Yes.
Rupert
Because that
Murdoch.
makes all the difference in the
Oh,
world.
you libs just don't like Rupert Murdoch. It's like, seriously? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. George Soros. Oh, yeah. Hunter Biden. Yeah. Donald
Yeah.
Trump. No. He
Yeah.
would never. He's got Melania.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I
Never
mean,
mind the pictures of him arm in arm with Jeffrey Epstein and
yeah.
telling people, oh, he likes them young.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. So the other thing that I thought that we could take a look at was, and we spoke about this briefly, but Ozempic.
Yes.
And yeah, it was one. It was a short article that I read that it kind of the downside of of Biden's putting the price of diabetic medication down, capping it at $35. Well, this is one of the depressing things, or one of the unpopular things, is because it does include Ozempic, because it is a a drug for diabetes, for insulin control, and so on. And the argument is that, well, it shouldn't be covered because being fat and being ill aren't the same thing. And I thought, what about people with thyroid issues? There's you're trying to connect apples and oranges by going through the banana aisle, and
As somebody who works in the pharmaceutical industry for my daytime job, all I can say is, boy, that sounds like a lobbyist talking real loud into people's ears. Because anytime they come up, every time they come up with a weight loss drug, that's other than male erection. If they could come up with weight loss drugs, will make them the most money.
Yes.
Erectile dysfunction drugs will be right up there with it. If they could get a drug to cure male balding,
yes, pattern baldness. Oh
God! you could just print your own money with something like that. But yeah, that's like literally having a weight loss drug. That's like printing money. And
yes.
You can imagine that the companies that have that do not want that capped at like $35 for insulin, because they could sell it for 100 times that price and never run out of customers for it. They sell it as fast as they can make it.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. So is is anyone actually going to buy this? I mean, it's like taking any of the other Basaglar or Similitude or something along those lines that is based on insulin and saying, well, you're You're fat because are you fat because you're diabetic, or are you diabetic because you're fat?
Right.
They can exist exclusively, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. I mean, I can, yeah, I lost a good deal of weight even before trying the Ozempic. I'm still diabetic. I'm still, it hasn't reduced that at all. So yeah, how can you make that argument? But so what am I trying to say, David?
I don't
Read my
know.
mind. Read my mind. What am I talking about?
Sorry, that's my pay grade.
Oh, thanks. Okay, let's do this. Are they going to use this argument to increase the price of drugs for diabetics?
Four of Wands, welcoming in or kicking out. How interesting. I would almost say I could. This is if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually gets in there.
Oof.
I'm seeing, holding on to the money, looking at values, bringing things down. My initial reaction was they may not. They may try to keep the cost. I guess you know what it. Okay, here's what it is. It really depends on how RFK Jr. views Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act and the Inflation Reduction Act, something along those lines. Because on the one hand, keeping the price down is going to lower people's health risks, which will save money in the long run. And RFK could probably make that argument to Donald Trump so long as he uses the terms bleach, light, and ivermectin in the same argument. But at the same time, I think this is the lobbyists coming in saying, hey, you got to kill this program. You're costing us money. And without that money, we can't do research and we can't pay for lobbyists. And with this administration, administration is going to be like a broken clock. They will occasionally get something right every once in a while by accident.
By accident, yes.
So,
without meaning to.
And this could be one of those ones that they accidentally get right by not letting it become really expensive. And part of that could be driven that if who makes Ozempic? Is that GSK or who makes that?
That I don't remember.
I'll have to look it up. If they don't pay enough, he won't sign it because hey, you didn't pay me enough. You didn't pay me enough to say no to that. Let's see who makes it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Novo Nordisk. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I worked for Novo Nordisk for less than a year at one point. It was a site closure. But that would make sense. Novo Nordisk is their mission statement is to fight and try and find a cure for diabetes. And they were like the number one insulin provider in the world for decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I think that they also produced the Basaglar that I'm on.
Okay.
I think that it could be one of their products too. But yeah, up until now, people haven't made that they didn't make a big thing about Ozempic being a diabetic drug initially because it was it was a diabetic drug that only impacted a certain portion of society, and we don't have to worry about that. We can just kind of keep that quiet. We're not a lot to see here, right? However, as soon as someone kind of came up with or was able to put two and two together and say, hey, one of the benefits or one of the side effects of Ozempic is that it does lead to weight loss, and it's not significant weight loss. It really isn't. So then, whoo, we got to start making money, okay? By saying that by calling this a diabetic drug, we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner. So we need to get out of that corner. So we're going to call it a weight loss drug.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of how they would want to get out of it. And the strength, yeah, it's
remembering that Donald Trump is the type of person that has grudges. So if the pharmaceutical industry didn't play ball with him, if no one didn't play ball with him or something like that, then he may not play ball back with them.
Yeah.
That being said, he can always be his opinion can be changed with suitcases full of cash.
Absolutely. Yeah, depending on how much money you give me, that will determine how much I'm going to talk about what it is that you want me to say.
Yeah, but if he's pissed off at you, you start off in a very deep hole that you have to fill with wheelbarrows full of cash, so that you fill in the hole, and then you have to build a mountain.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the last thing is, and again, we had kind of touched on this earlier, was South Korea's President Yoon Suk Yeol declared martial law. And that was, I think, last night. And overnight or this morning, his parliament absolutely vetoed that decision and said, nope. So what part of his reasoning for declaring martial law was because I think they too have recently had elections, and there were, talk about some interference, and that they were certain people in the government were being, I don't want to say they were being paid off, but they were being influenced by North Korea.
North Korea, yeah, pro-North Korean forces or something like that.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's true or not. Don't follow Korean politics. All I know is that the parliament voted unanimously to end martial law, and the military is like, we will break up when the president tells us to stop.
Yeah.
So they've got some interesting times.
Yes. Yeah. A little tense over there. So, and my question was, is this kind of a sign of things to come? Because the U.S. isn't the only country that is going through these things. We're seeing it in other countries as well. So is this a sign of things to come, where there's going to be more divisiveness, more interference, more players being involved in your country's decisions that have no business being in your country's decisions?
Yeah. An interesting spread on this one. Foundation of the reading is the lovers. This is the vote. People coming together to vote for their leaders. Crossed with the Seven of Cups. Integrity versus illusions and delusions. So call it voter integrity. In the past, you have the Emperor. People don't like to give up power. Just human nature is, once you have power, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, part of the thing that makes democracies remarkable is the ability to walk away from power. Peaceful transfers of power The one group hands it off to the other group. But if there's evidence of cheating or corruption, that should be exposed. But basically, the lesson we learned is there could very well be corruption in their elections. And now, what do you do about that peaceful transfer of power as the new Congress or the new politicians are coming in? But underneath that election, there's probably a lot of problems with it. It's a really, really touchy situation. I don't seem to recall reading that the South Korean president was a despot or anything along those lines. I typically don't think of if you were telling me it was like Ferdinand Marcos or
Yes.
any of the Marcoses or not the Aquinos, Marcoses or Duarte's in the Philippines, yes. I would just be chuckling about that, because those are two powerful families that are corrupt. I don't know enough about this guy. I don't get the vibe that he is, but at the same time, it's kind of like the vibe I get is that he knows there's a problem, but his way of dealing with it wasn't very strategic. It's kind of like this, oh, well, people will respect me because I'm the president and I'm not going to do this. And the backlash from people having their rights taken away was almost unexpected in its intensity. Mm-hmm. That type of thing. Long and short, you have to have a good PR campaign to go. When you're going to declare martial law, you better have a good PR campaign. And Donald Trump and his cronies are really, really good at PR campaigns.
Yes.
And have been his entire time in office.
Yeah, I think this was. I think I agree with you. And I start off with the Two of Pentacles. Making decisions, and cross that with the Seven of Wands. That defending your position or defending a position. So I think that. He probably does have some information that there was something a little untoward about the election, and maybe the approach was just a little overkill. It's kind of like killing a fly with a hammer, right? There could have been other ways to do things. I also get the Queen of Swords, the getting to the truth of things, finding out what had happened, the things that you need to walk away. And this almost feels like, listen, you had to almost like you have to decide to pick your battles. And you should have thought about this battle before you just kind of jumped in, because what happened, you have to walk away. Right? You couldn't the messaging about what it was that you were trying to achieve was lost in the action of what you did. So and ultimately moving on to calmer waters, going away from what you were doing onto something else. So which is kind of very quickly exactly what happened with him. That you can't do that, but I want to.
This
and just quickly, I noticed BMIDP said, hi, not sure you can blanket pardon anyone who has not been indicted.
Sure you can.
Absolutely. Matt Gaetz asked before, he hasn't been indicted on anything, and he asked Trump for a blanket pardon.
Yeah.
Anything that I may have done in the past or may do in the future. That, innocent people don't need pardons.
Yeah, exactly. Just because you're not indicted doesn't mean you can't be pardoned. Yeah. It's just, and they talk about pocket pardons or blanket pardons and stuff like that. Now, Does it look shady as hell if you give a pardon to somebody who has been convicted? Yeah, or indicted? Sure does.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene asked for one as well. On the other coin, if you know that they're going to target you or target somebody, in other words, let's say Jack Smith has not broken any laws. Should Biden give Jack Smith a blanket pardon, knowing that Trump and the GOP are going to go after him?
Yes.
Trump's already said as much that he's going to go after him. So,
Yes.
and who knows what's going to happen with that? They can appoint him as a federal judge, and then, well, even though you can still go after a federal judge, you just can't fire him. That was the firing part. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We're going for a banana republic in the United States.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, folks. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. Just fasten your seatbelts. It could be a bumpy ride, but yeah, sometimes we have to go through those things, and it's unfortunate that we get dragged along with the people needing to learn the lesson. We're here to encourage them as they learn a new way of living, but we're not here to save them. They have to save themselves. So anyway, having said that, thank you, David, for joining me. I always look forward to these. They're always a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll have to next time we can talk a little more about, what your twin brother is doing, and or more importantly, what he's doing using your name. Okay?
How dare he?
Yeah, when you get that bill and I paid what?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
hope he's having a good short trip to London.
I do too. I do too. I'm sure that he is going to really, really enjoy himself. So thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. That'll be on the 17th. And hopefully by then we'll have some more interesting things to talk about. A lot could happen between now and then.
And probably will.
Probably will.
So,
all righty. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Have a good night.